Hi, this is Dr. Cruz Peterson, and welcome to the lecture on preparing for a role. Roman orator and rhetorician Quintilian offers what I see as somaesthetic practices to help the actor control physical movements on stage. His oratory, A Treatment of Rhetoric in 12 Books, dedicates a substantial portion of Book 11, Chapter 3 to habitual conditioning, which is what is your required reading for this lesson. So in this lesson, we're going to analyze Quintilian's art of oratory as a means of expression, describe how the body as an instrument of art is reflected in Quintilian's Institute oratory, and explain how Quintilian's work relates to representational, experiential, and performative somaesthetics. According to Quintilian, in order for one to achieve an effective embodiment, one must engage in what I see as the equivalent to experiential somaesthetics, what Quintilian calls visions or emotions that belong to the pathos of the Greeks. In other words, an actor, Quintilian says, like an actor, should employ imaginative identification to impersonate and exhibit emotions as if they were his own. He urges the orator to assimilate himself to the emotions of those who are genuinely so affected, taking those passions to himself and transforming them to vocal and bodily eloquence. Early modern writers follow the teachings of Quintilian in respect to the eyes. Juan Luis Vives regards the imagination as the eye of the soul, and Charles Gildon claims one ought to form in his mind a very strong idea of the subject of his passion, which of course this again rises to the eyes, affecting all our senses and emotions. Quintilian believes that the eyes are critical to acting. Through the glance, says Quintilian, we express supplication, threats, flattery, sorrow, joy, pride, or submission. It is on this that our audience hangs, on this that they rivet their attention and their gaze, even before we begin to speak. It's exciting. Think about this. How effective we can use our eyes in stage. Quintilian postulates that the eyes, more than anything else, reveal the temper of the mind, and without actual movement would twinkle with merriment or be clouded with grief. Therefore, makeup that exaggerated the actor's eyes or the expressive movement of her eyes was a necessary element of acting, especially in large spaces such as the Renaissance playhouses. Examples of the eye's power to induce desire can be found in art of the same time period. The portrait of two women at a window seen here depicts a young woman gazing out from the window and an older woman standing behind her, right? So this is a painting with controversial interpretations in which some describe the eyes of the younger woman innocently gazing as her chaperone standing behind her attempts to muffle a laugh with a shawl, while there are others who believe that the young woman is actually a prostitute gesturing to a customer as her dueña or dama watches. Just as the ambiguity of Murillo's painting yields divergent interpretations, the actor's expressive movements of the body or limbs produce the same. Therefore, the actor must cultivate habits such as gestural movements particular to her dress in order to avoid misgivings on stage, such as sword fights. In order to prevent gross errors in characterization, the actor starts by studying the play, paying careful attention to textual cues for character development, extracting meaning from it. A true believer of preparation before a performance, Quintilian charged that one cannot hope to attain perfection unless nature is assisted by study. In other words, actors must focus on their representational skills, making sure that their actions and costumes fit their characters' specific social status and geographic location. Especially important to actors' preparation is the play's text. Diligent readings of dialogue and stage directions assisted actors in memorizing their parts, connecting the representational form with their experiential feelings, thus ensuring that their voices and movements match that of the characters they portray. In addition to an unwavering memory, one of the fundamental skills playwrights and directors look for in an actor is the ability to improvise, as Cervantes in the Comedia Pedro de Urdamalas asserts. Studying the play's texts help the actors develop an understanding of their characters' movements and motives and emotions, which aids in not only memorizing her lines or their lines, but also in easily ad-libbing in the event that her memory should escape her. In order to improve the memory and facility of speech, according to Quintilian, he recommends learning passages by heart so that we may prepare ourselves for all exigencies simultaneously. As actors rehearse, they continue to refine their skills fundamental to performative somesthetics, improving not only their mental strength, but also their physical stamina to get them through weeks of rehearsals and performances. Quintilian claims that exercise which gives strength in all cases, is equally necessary for both orators and singing masters. So in addition to costumes, the representational aspects such as the actor's voice and gestural movements can endue women of the stage with agency. So actors who oftentimes had to interpret the play's polysemic language and deliver it with a distinctive and confident voice had to be aware of the diction, the pauses, the tempo, and the timbre in their manner of speaking, keeping in mind Quintilian's words that every human being possesses a distinctive voice of his own or her own, which is as easily distinguished by the ear as are facial characteristics by the eye. This is accomplished through physical training. Corporal exercises such as breathing to strengthen the voice and lungs help the actor to control visceral movements connected to her emotional state. Quintilian insists on proper breathing exercises for a strong voice. He says that in order for the actor or orator to manage and possess all necessary inflections and modulations in her voice, there should be a strength of lungs and breath that can be steadily prolonged and not likely to sink under labor. Daily exercises and training were not uncommon, as critics observed of actors, a practice that corresponds with Quintilian's physical training for public speakers. In addition to dialogue, stage directions present the actor with experiential and representational signs for building her character. However, playwrights and actors on numerous occasions made substantial changes in response to criticism. Hence, the actor had to strive through physical exercise for a somatic transformation in order to produce genuine movements true to her character. The practice of physical training stems from the school of ancient Greek philosophers who advocated, as Dr. Schusterman points out, physical training, since, and I quote, fit bodies provide sharper perception and more discipline and versatility for adapting oneself in thought. The actors also had to familiarize themselves with the physical space of the stage and all its components, such as exits, entrances, props, scenery, and especially stage machines. Machines such as the cloud elevated actors above the stage, creating the illusion of flying, such as in hagiographic plays, which used actors, for example, angels or saints, usually played by women, who appeared above the stage on the cloud, which at times required them to drop down and disappear through a trap door. These machines required a certain amount of somatic discipline from the actors, who had to train their bodies to balance on the platforms while trusting machines as well as the buoys that operated them to move them above the stage. At times, though, actors refused to perform for fear of falling out the contractions, which is what happened to a 17th century Spanish actress named Josefa de Medina, who fell from a stage machine to her death while performing in Seville. Playwrights frequently employed the use of not only stage machines, but animals as well, such as entering on horseback to attract audiences. All during these physical actions, the actors are expected to deliver their lines loud enough to be heard. Therefore, an actor had to take care to preserve her vocal cords by cultivating sound physical habits, such as Quintilian observes, the good qualities of the voice, like everything else, are improved by training and impaired by neglect. Quintilian believes that physical exercise is essential to save the voice from fading. He recommends walking, rubbing down with oil, abstinence from sexual intercourse, and an easy digestion. Moreover, actors unaware of their somatic habits could betray their characters on stage, as Quintilian explains. If gesture and the expression of the face are out of harmony with the speech, our words will not only lack weight, but will fail to carry conviction. Therefore, from a somaesthetic approach, a synthesis of mind and body happens through exercise that enable the individual to recognize and change habits that are unnatural to the function of the everyday activities. When easy functions such as walking across a stage appear unnatural or forced, the actor runs the risk of producing a caricature or a character that audience will find unconvincing. The actor, according to Quintilian, honors the truthfulness of her character by preparing with somatic exercises, such as breathing exercises, which proposed by Quintilian, serve to enhance the representational form, which in turn intensifies the emotions and thoughts of the inner self, and which also requires physical control. Please read the chapter from Quintilian's Institute Oratory and then proceed to the discussion board to complete post 2. I look forward to your take on Quintilian's work. Thank you.